Well, you're not ready for this one. Jimmy Fallon might just be the fakest personality on late night television, always laughing a little too hard and trying to play the nice guy act, but according to one of his former writers, that's not the full story. In an appearance on Joe Rogan's podcast, some behind-the-scenes details were spilled that paint a very different picture of Fallon, one that is far from the fun-loving host that we see on television. So today we're going to break it all down, and let's just say the mask is slipping, and what's underneath? It's not pretty. As always, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more videos just like this.
Too mean, or just like this is going to make Jimmy unlikable. Like it wasn't about being funny so much as like coming off as smart and friendly, and likable. I was there for a year, and they barely used anything I ever did.
Wow.
But they knew I was funny. They liked me, and I thought, for some reason in my head, I thought that if I quit before a year, that it'll like follow me. People would be like, what happened with Fallon? Why were you only there a year? And then when I left, it was like, no one would have given a shit if I'd left after 10 weeks. It wouldn't have mattered at all. An interesting experience, but I did not enjoy it.
Being a writer for other people's voices has got to be very difficult.
For me, it's impossible. It's like I write in my voice, and you either like it or you don't. Like I've written for Jimmy Kimmel, Sarah Silverman, and like if I loved a joke, they loved it too.
That's stand-up comic and writer Anthony Jeselnik, who worked on the first season of The Late Night after Jimmy Fallon took over as a host. And let me tell you, Fallon's brand of comedy is about as safe as it gets. That's not the case with Anthony. His entire late-night approach revolves around making toothless and bland jokes, unless, of course, the joke is about Trump. Then all of a sudden the gloves come off and he jumps on the same bandwagon as reaching for the low-hanging fruit because that's the one target Hollywood allows. But outside of that, his humor is the definition of tame. Seems like the late-night franchise has devolved and currently exists just to make Fallon seem as likable as possible, where he's always laughing, sometimes at things that aren't even funny, and doing everything in his power to become everyone's best friend. This is a point Joe and Anthony expanded on as well, and the pair made some valid observation.
The case, it was almost never like he would laugh at the joke, but he'd be like, I can't say this. I can't do it.
What are they trying to do? Like, what is he trying to do? He's trying to be like middle America. Like, there's a market for that, right? Is that what it is?
He just wants everyone to love him. He just wants everyone to love him. That's like not a bad trait to have in a late night host.
Right. Probably the best trait to have in a late night host.
Mm-hmm.
Had there been people who've come to you and said, Jimmy, this is working for other people, maybe we should step into the anti-Trump lane and get in on this?
It's just not what I do. I think it'd be weird for me to start doing it now. I don't really even, care that much about politics. I got to be honest. I love pop culture more than I love politics. I'm just not that brain.
Not being able to write in different tones isn't some artistic choice, it's just laziness. A good writer adapts, but refusing to do so is like a chef that only cooks one dish and calling it a specialty. Now back to the topic, trying to play everyone's best friend is a losing game in the long run because eventually you're going to say something that upsets one group or another. The only way to avoid that is by saying nothing of substance or being such a universally respected figure that no one disagrees with you, which is basically impossible these days. That's why Fallon's attempt to keep everyone happy has only made him fade into irrelevance, and you can't be memorable if your entire brand is built around being inoffensive. When you have no real stance and just go along with whatever is popular, people stop caring. He's proof that playing it safe might keep you in the game, but it won't make you stand out. Jimmy also said this during an interview around 7 years ago, and I have to admit, it's aged like milk.
Did you write for Fallon?
Uh-huh.
What was that gig like?
It was frustrating. They didn't because I started when he started Late Night with Jimmy Fallon, so I was one of the first guys there, and they didn't like any of my jokes. Like it was impossible. Too mean, or just like this is going to make Jimmy unlikable. Like it wasn't about being funny so much as like coming off as smart and friendly, and likable. I was there for a year. And they barely used anything I ever did.
Wow.
But they knew I was funny. They liked me. And I thought, for some reason in my head, I thought that if I quit before a year, that it'll like follow me. People would be like, what happened with Fallon? Why were you only there a year? And then when I left, it was like, no one would have given a shit if I'd left after 10 weeks. Wouldn't have mattered at all. An interesting experience, but I did not enjoy it.
Being a writer for other people's voices has got to be very difficult.
You see what I mean with can't please everyone? If he had said he enjoyed making Trump jokes, he'd alienate half the country, But if he said he didn't like doing them at all, the cancel mob would come for him. So instead of standing firm on anything, he tried to play the middle ground. Obviously, his stance has long changed since then. He even went as far as apologizing for humanizing Trump. You see, back in 2016, the Don appeared on his show and Fallon playfully messed with his hair. At the time, seemed like harmless fun, but a few months later, the outrage machine kicked in and he scrambled to explain himself, saying, "If I let anyone down, it hurt my feelings that they didn't like it. I got it." Adding, "I didn't do it to humanize him. I almost did it to minimize him. I didn't think that it would be a compliment. He did the thing that we all wanted to do." In other terms, he's regretting treating the president like a human being. Joe even asked Anthony about Jimmy's drinking problems, and what he revealed confirmed a lot of rumors.
To talk about Donald Trump or to go political, do you hear that noise?
No, I mean, I think the other guys are doing it very well. Colbert's doing great. I mean, that's what he's good at. He's great. He's always into like political comedy, you know. And I think when it's organic, I'll dip into it as well. But I've always made jokes about the president. Whether we've only had Obama, but I made thousands of jokes. I remember having him on the show. I'm like, sorry, if that's my job, I have to do what I have to do, you know. But with Trump, it's just like every day is a new thing. He gives a lot of material. A lot of stuff is hard to even make a joke about because it's just too serious.
I'd like to see him drunk one day, just shitting on everybody.
There's a lot to unpack here. In 2023, Rolling Stone released an article exposing a lot of bad things that go on behind the scenes of The Tonight Show, accusing Jimmy of creating what some people might call a toxic work environment. They interviewed current and former employees who claim Fallon has good days and bad days. One person was quoted saying, "When something was wrong, we all knew how to behave afterward," which was just sort of avoid eye contact and don't make another mistake. That alone sounds bad enough, but it gets worse. The article also alleged that, quote, according to 8 former employees, Fallon's behavior seemed to be dependent on if he appeared to be hungover from the night before. Of course, Fallon apologized once the article made waves, saying he never intended to create such a bad workplace. But whether or not that apology was genuine, that's up for debate, because logic says people don't change years of bad behavior overnight.
Does he do that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've heard that he quit drinking. I don't know if that's true, but he liked to get drunk and in shitty bars and hang out with the staff and the crew. He's like a man of the people, and he didn't just want to go home and drink. He wanted to go out and go to some weird bar that was in a subway that no one knew about and have beers. He was like a fun drunk, but he did it a lot.
Yeah, there was always those rumors that he's got a problem.
Yep, we've seen this pattern repeat itself over and over. Ellen DeGeneres was exposed for fostering a toxic workplace despite her whole be kind persona. James Corden built a reputation for being charming on camera, but reportedly treated restaurant staff and crew members awfully. And then there's Bill Cosby, who, well, he was America's dad and then was, let's just say, a whole huge disgrace. And it's really making you question that what we see, is it real or just another performance? But I'd love to know your thoughts here, so let's get the conversation rolling in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed the video, please share it with your friends. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.